So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use both Immersive Reader and the dictation tool. Both of those are quite handy for writing tests, especially if you're not so fast at typing. You can have Word type its answers for you, and you can also have questions read to you if that's useful to you. You can even have your answers read back to you. So first of all, I'll show you Immersive Reader. So if you click on View, click on Immersive Reader, it'll open up the document in a larger font, so you can have the whole thing read to you like this.
1. Approximately how much energy is passed on to the next trophic level in a food chain? A. 1%. B. 10%. C. 25%. D. 50%.
So I'm just going to pause that there, and I'm going to go back and answer that question. But before I do that, another thing that you can do with Immersive Reader is select words at a time. So if you want to know what approximately means, it actually can show you a little bit. So in this picture, the dart approximately hit near the dartboard. If you click on energy, it shows this person's eating all this food and it's giving him energy. Let's see if trophic doesn't show up, but you can click and just listen to that word.
Trophic.
They say trophic. So I'm going to go answer this question. I think I remember in class that we talked about 10% of the energy goes on to each level, so I'm going to highlight that. Then we can have the next question read to us. And I'll go down to question number 2. It's still stuck on my answer. So right here, and I'll press play.
Clownfish live inside the tentacles of sea anemones. The clownfish receives shelter from predators, and the anemone receives food that is dropped by the clownfish. This biotic interaction is called A. Predation. B. Symbiosis. C. Competition. D. Parasitism.
So now that I've had all of those read to me, I'll go back and I think the answer is symbiosis. So I'll highlight that. Now we're on to some definition questions. So number 3 is asking us to define element. You could have that read to you. I'm not going to. So up here, there's the dictate tool. So I'm going to click on that. So now it's listening. An element is something that's found on the periodic table. Period. Elements are made of one type of atom. Period. An example of an element is gold. Period. So just remember, once you press that record button, it will actually type everything at here. So I'm going to delete that part because that was not part of my answer. So there, an element is something that's found on the periodic table. Elements are made of one type of atom. An example of an element is gold. So now let's go down to compound. We'll define it. And we'll press dictate again. A compound is made of 2 or more elements in a fixed ratio. Period. An example of a compound is carbon dioxide. Period. So that's how you do that. If you wanted to have those read back to you, you can click here, and I'll go back to View Immersive Reader. Make sure that I like the sound of my answers. So it's still up where I had it last read to me. And I'll pick here, and let's see if I like my answer.
An element is something that's found on the periodic table. Elements are made of one type of atom. An example of an element is gold.
So that's my example of how to use Immersive Reader and dictation for writing a test.